Welcome to the show, everybody. Joseph Robert, the fantasy football counselor. Today we are talking about fantasy football 2020, tight ends to target. And guess who I've got here online? It's Tim, aka the Bald Man. What's going on, Tim?
Not much. How's it going, everybody?
Tim, I'm excited about the season. There's a lot of talk. I think the camps are opening up, or the facilities are opening up, I should say. So I'm excited. There's going to be some buzz about football coming up this week, Tim. I don't know if you're as excited as I am, but I'm really excited.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this a lot. We don't just do this podcast together. We're friends, and we talk outside of this many, many times. And I've told you, stop worrying, man. The NFL, it's going to happen. The season's going to happen. I don't care if they push it back. I don't care if they play without fans in the stands. It's going to happen. And I think every sign we're seeing is pointing to that as well. We're seeing the UFC is back to doing it. They're not having any fans in the stands, but they're running their fights. Everybody's dying. Everybody wants sports, man. So this is going to happen.
Yeah, man. I can't contain the excitement. And now we are mid-May. As soon as June hits, now we're pretty much full fantasy football season. This is technically off season. I consider maybe mid-June, I say, we start really, really getting full gear into fantasy analysis, into laying things out. And we're going to get a lot of news buzzing right now in regards to maybe some depth charts happening, some training happening, some different things are going to happen. And as soon as we know where those the team battles for positions happen, then we start honing in on certain players. Because right now there's a ton of running back battles. Like you got Moss, you got Singletary, you got a ton of battles. We got Marlon Mack, Jonathan Taylor. There's so many, and we're going to do a special episode of that. And Tom and I are going to do that. By the way, Tom, the guy I have on my show with the Fire and Ice series, he's bald as well. So they keep calling you Tim, Tom, Tim. They're getting you guys confused a little bit. I don't see the confusion here.
That's it. Tom and I are going to have to throw down. There can be only one.
Two bald. I got to shave my head, and we'll call it the three-headed bald guys.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about tight ends today. That's what I want to focus on here, and get the 60-round draft solution. You guys know what it is at this point. I'm going to put a little link here and head on over to thefantasyfootballcounselor.com. This is the game changer. You guys know what it's all about. All right. So tight ends here, Tim. We're going to just talk about tight ends to target. And I want to talk about specifically mid to later guys, because you know me, I don't draft tight ends early. And I emphasize this in 16-round draft solution. Don't invest, because there's a significant drop-off. I'm looking at last year's numbers. You had Travis Kelce. He had 254 points, okay, PPR. The guy that was second to him was Kittle at 222, then 221, and then drops off from there, and so on and so forth. So as long as I'm getting 10 to 15 points out of my tight end weekly, and I'm pretty solid with that guy, I'm not going to invest a second-round draft pick on a tight end, because I want to get the most scarce position, that is running back. That's me particularly. It's a strategy that's worked for me. So, Tim, let's go through this, man. Tight ends to target. Any thoughts, first of all, on what I was saying with the strategy aspect of it?
No, I totally agree with you. And I say it every time we do a video that we talk about a tight end. I look for a tight end to get me 10 points consistently. If I can get anywhere in and around that 10, I'm fairly happy. Some of these guys like a Kelce and that, they are capable of putting up 15 on an average. And, that's really great. But am I going to pay a steeper price? Like, am I going to jump 4, 5, 6 rounds to get these guys to get me an extra 5 on average? Hell no, I don't look at it that way either. That being said, and you did say you want to kind of keep to more middle to late round guys, I do have 2 guys that would go off fairly early here. But if you're a casual player and you don't really pay attention to football, maybe you're just looking at last year's stats and you're like, oh, these guys aren't going to do it. Let me just quickly plug them then. It's Evan Ingram and Hunter Henry. These guys seem to be going around the 6th to 8th round.
Right.
Both of them missed time last year. Both of them are great, solid starters that, even if they don't finish a full year, but they can get the majority of the year, these guys will put up some pretty big numbers for you. I'm not looking at them. I just wanted to throw that out there. If you are a casual player and you want to get a really good tight end, there's still some risk though. These guys are, I don't want to call them injury prone, because tight ends, playing 16 full games year after year is almost unheard of. Very few guys can do it. So Evan Ingram and Hunter Henry would be some really good, safe, solid guys for a new person to maybe get if they can get them at the right ADP. Other than that, my guy that I'm really targeting this year, and you can get him late, man, is Hayden Hurst. He's moved to a new team. He's out of the shadow of Mark Andrews. I think he's just going to have a phenomenal year. And right now he seems to be going around 11th, 12th round. So I'm all over that.
Yeah, I mean, he has a high ceiling. He is with a high octane offense. I do love the offense. And we've seen what Ryan did with Hooper that was there. Now, is he as good as Hooper? That's something we got to figure out. I doubt it, but he could be better than Hooper. And that's the exciting thing. And that is a definite solid tight end sleeper that I like as well. You got to consider him. Going back to Ingram, we talked about injuries. He played, 8 games last
Yeah.
season? And he's a guy you may want to consider, but the injuries are a bit of a concern. He has not finished a season the past 3 years. And you know how I feel about guys like that. Dalvin Cook being an example of guys not finishing seasons. That's an issue to me when I am looking at tight ends. So, yeah, the ceiling's high, but the risk is high as well. We've seen this happen with guys like Jordan Reed. Going back to Hurst, yeah, I definitely can agree with that. There is some upside, but I think Calvin Ridley gets more volume this year. They also got Gurley out of the backfield catching the ball. So I don't know how much Hurst is going to be involved. They have enough targets with Julio seeing a ton of volumes every single year. He gets tons of targets and volume. So it's going to be interesting to see how that offense works, but I think it's going to be a solid offense, and I definitely like that. Who else do you got here for another tight end to target for 2020?
My other one is Eric Ebron. So once again, very similar situation. He's kind of moved out of the shadow of another player. He's moved over to Pittsburgh. Big Ben is coming back. Yes, Vance McDonald is there. There might be a little bit of battle. We'll have to kind of watch this one as the season gets moving forward. But right now, he seems to be going around 13th, 14th round, man. Are you friggin' kidding me? I'd be all over that.
Yeah, maybe as a backup as well. Definitely a late round stash, but I'm not really sold on him possibly getting the ball. I haven't seen Big Ben really gravitate to tight ends as much. We've seen it back in 2018. Juju and AB with the guys. Now they got Chase Claypool, young rookie who could get some volume. They still got Washington there, which I'm not excited at wide receiver, and they've also got Deontay Johnson. So there is quite a few targets to go around. And Connor, apparently, if he comes back healthy, he's going to be catching the ball. I think there's just too many targets, and you got Vance. I'm not really excited about him as much, but I could definitely see him getting a few touchdowns. I think he's going to have some boom bust type of games, but I don't see him being a consistent producer week in, week out with Big Ben.
Yeah, he's not going to get the kind of targets that a guy like Hayden Hurst, being the main player, might get in Atlanta there. But still, if he can get 70, 75 targets, he's going to put up some good solid numbers. He's going to give you that 10-point average.
Okay, I'll give you one that I like, and a lot of people are like, Joe, I don't know. And this guy is going. You can get him after round 9, 10. And a lot of people are sleeping on him, but I've been doing mocks. Sometimes he comes off a little earlier, depending. But the guy I really like, and I liked him last year, he busted, and that was really because of Matt Stafford. The guy I'm talking about is TJ Hawkinson. He was a first-round pick for the Lions. And the nice thing about him is that he was being targeted quite often in the red zone. 2 touchdowns in the first 4 games with Stafford there last year. Stafford healthy, coming back, could be a primary target for him. They didn't acquire any new wide receivers, so Golladay and Jones are the guys. And I think they're going to use Hawkinson in the red zone quite a bit. So I'm excited. I can get him for value as my tight end one and then back him up with a guy like maybe even, like a Hurst, or depends. I think Hurst might come off a little bit earlier. It depends. They're in around the same area, or back him up with even a guy, like you said, Ebron or a Doyle or something like that. It could be interesting to see, but I think Hawkinson has a high ceiling.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think one of the other guys you were talking about, I don't want to steal your thunder offline here, was, oh my God, now I just blanked because I didn't want to steal your thunder. What's that? Yeah, Fant, yeah.
Now I like Fant, but the ceiling's high. It depends on who Drew Lock wants to gravitate to. Now, Drew Lock being, we haven't seen much out of him coming into his second year. He may just gravitate to tight ends, and Fant could be the beneficiary there, right? They've got Sutton. They acquired 2 wide receivers who looked good out of college. We don't know how that's going to translate in the NFL with Jerry Jeudy and Hamler. They got Melvin Gordon catching the ball backfield. They got Phillip Lindsay there. There's a ton of targets. This offense on paper looks really, really good. How much Fant is going to get is unclear right now, but you could get him based on ceiling. And I think you never know. Locke might gravitate to him.
Yeah, I actually think that when it's a young quarterback, I think tight ends are a great option for them. Tight ends typically have really good hands. They're big, solid guys, so they can fight for the ball. They can reach over most people. I love it. I actually do like Noah Fant a lot as well, being there with that situation.
All right. Anyone else, Tim, for tight end?
Those were my guys, man. Like I said, I picked 2 that I think are, really top end guys that you might be able to get. I don't want to say for a value, because paying a 6th or 7th round isn't a value to me. So that's your Hunter Henry and Evan Ingram. I'm going to wait. I'm going to look. I really want Hayden Hurst this year, and I hope he has the year that I think he's going to have. And then, another guy for me would be Eric Ebron, man. Those are my guys I'm looking at right now.
I'll give you two other names here. Actually, there's a couple other names, or maybe there might be three, but let's talk about this guy real quickly. I've got his numbers pulled up here, and he started to shine near the end of the season. I'm talking about Miami Dolphins. I never drafted Dolphins player, but Mike Gesicki here had a good run near the end of the season. In week 16 at 26 points PPR, week 17, 13 points. He had a couple bust games, week 14, 15, where there's some inconsistency, but then week 12 and 13, pretty solid games. So 11 points, 18 points, 1.6, 8.7, 26, and 13 points. So out of the 6 games, consistent, but two duds out of those 6 games pretty much, with the one dud in week 14. Now they've got an improved O-line. Maybe Tua gets a start at one point. I don't know, man. This could be a sleeper, man. He's got that high ceiling. Again, that big game near the end of the season shows me some promise, Tim, but I'm not getting too excited yet.
No, I like it. I like that thinking too. And like you say, man, if these are guys that are almost going undrafted or you can pick them up super late, why not grab a couple of them?
Yeah, another guy here that I, kind of feel comfortable with this guy. I'm kind of seeing him come off around like, 8 to 10. He doesn't get as far as 10. But he could be safe, and he looked really safe. I got to make a note of this. If you're talking fantasy football sleepers or just fantasy football tight end sleepers, I should say. The guy I'm talking about is Tyler Higbee. If you actually look at his stats, I encourage you guys, I challenge you guys, go look at him from week 13 to 17. I mean, phenomenal numbers. I'm going to read it out to you right now. Okay, this is PPR. Check this out. Week 13, no lie, 23.7 points. Week 14, 18.6. Week 15, 23.1. Week 16, 19.4. And week 17, 22.4. Now, Tim, I'm not a mathematician here, but he started going and his target count started to go up after like week 13 and beyond. And if you project that out, those type of numbers, 23 points or 20 points on average based on what we're seeing, you project out the whole season. We got a top 1 tight end here with Higbee. I mean, that's something to get excited about here.
Yeah, for sure. So like you say, his numbers were not impressive at all earlier in the year. And yeah, week 13 is when it really kind of picked up. Definitely, like you say, he's one of those guys that you can take a chance on. If you're going to pick him up really late in your draft, why not grab 2 or 3 of these tight ends that could pay off really well, go a week or 2 into the season and drop the guys that just aren't happening? Not a problem.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that concerns me is when you look at guys like this, like he's in his 5th season now. So it's one of those things like you're still wow. I mean, I'm not wowed. Have you finally found your groove? Are you like, you know what I mean? Like, are you the real deal? Or was this just kind of like a spurt at the end of the season that kind of just, it kind of came to be? Who knows? Maybe he's now gravitating to his quarterback. So maybe Goff and Higbee this season. Who knows, right? But you're not investing a lot. That's the thing about it, right? You're not paying second-round pick for these guys. You roll the dice on 2 guys that has some upside, Hawkinson and Higbee, and you're set. You're going to get 10 points out of them. Again, I'm not investing a second-round pick on tight end. There's no way.
Yeah, me neither. I'm nowhere near that.
Okay, and I'll give you another one. Actually, let's just save a couple sleepers. We're gonna do a tight end sleeper episode as we get to the season. I don't want to give away too much here, but you got a lot of names here that for some late round guys that you can get and target that are going to give you those 10 points, Tim. But there's a couple more hidden gems in there. We'll have to save for another episode for sure.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can say if you want to wait till those later rounds, you can get a lot of guys that are pretty much going to give you that 10 points I want every week. So why spend that high price just to get an extra 5 on average per week? To me, it's totally not worth it.
I will make a note here. I can't hold it in, man. Jonnu Smith, right? He is now. We met him at the draft last season. Apparently, him and Tannehill have been working exclusively together. I heard some news buzz that they've been training together. That could be good, man. There could be some rapport with Tannehill and Jonnu Smith. And if A.J. Brown's getting double coverage, Corey Davis, not the most exciting guy. They didn't really get any solid wide receivers in there. A lot of focus is going to be on Derrick Henry, Tannehill, Jonnu Smith. There could be a target there. Again, the hidden gems, guys, you can get super late, okay?
Yep.
All right, Tim, that's pretty much it, man. Anything else you want to add here?
No, brother. Just like I said, the season's going to happen, guys. Don't doubt it. One way or the other, we're going to work this out.
All right, we're ramping up, guys. There you go. Some tight ends to target without investing too early. Make sure you guys subscribe, leave a thumbs up. We appreciate you, and leave a comment below. Let me know which tight end you like mid to late rounds without investing that early pick. I appreciate you guys. Smash thumbs up, and we are out.
Have a good one, everybody.